Social justice versus individual justice. I know a lot of times when we talk about National Socialism versus democratic capitalism, we're talking about economics. We're talking about monopolies or markets, property, no property, profits, no profit, whatever, all those economic things. We don't think of them in terms of how the, Constitution works, or what each individual view of the Constitution is in terms of who we are as a society. Are we a whole bunch of little groups, or are we a collection of individuals, regardless of our, identities, race, creed, color, and stuff? And so this nation was founded, the Constitution was built around empowering the individual and limiting the powers of government. It was about individual rights and individual justice, right? This notion of social justice, it's right out of Karl Marx's playbook. His idea was, well, let's divide society into the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, the workers and businesses, and, let's have a fight so we can take over from the kings and queens, right? And run the society the way it's supposed to. And so social justice, as we run into this century, is kind of derivative of that. And I would tell you, it's kind of funny. In like 2002 or 2003, I'm in a meeting at our church about creating a mission statement. We knew pastor, great guy, very intelligent. I loved his sermons. He's a good sermon giver. When I went to church, that's the only thing I liked. The music, get the heck away. The sermons I love. So he's a good guy. So we get like almost all the way through, and he goes, well, shouldn't we have something about social justice? And I'm looking around the room going, well, am I the only one? I have no idea what he's talking about. Brand new idea, right? Nobody. So we're kind of stumped. So I said, oh, well, maybe, what is it? Well, then he was stumped because he had no idea. So I, went home and my dandy little internet connection looked up the Webster's definition, which was, at the time, it read just like a piece of manifesto that you would expect of a Marxist. And it's like, well, I don't think this is what we want in our church, right? But fast forward then to probably, 2 years ago, when this social justice thing starts popping up again, and had over the last few years in different ways. So you had safe places, right? I need a safe place to go to so I can have my own ideas without being oppressed by somebody else's ideas. So, it had tremendous negative connotations, but I looked it up at the time, and this kind of old style Marxian thing Webster had turned it into something that sounded rather benign. Well, these just nice people trying to help us out, right? It's like, well, that isn't right. And then I re-looked at it a few days ago. And it's kind of a cross between what was accurate in the past and something that was not quite benign, but it talks about redistribution of, opportunity, of power, of wealth, whatever, so that traditional socialist thinking. And so social justice then is what is meted out by the government for whatever groups you're in. It has nothing to do with us, dealing with one another. It is government by experts that say, well, you're allowed to think that's not right. Which is kind of, you go to the diversity, equity, inclusion things. It's kind of like people saying, well, this is what you're supposed to believe. If you don't believe this, you are a bad boy. You may not, or girl, you may not be able to stay here anymore. But that's kind of what it is. This is top-down approach to designing society from the point of view of the experts, right? But as you look at it, go back a couple of years again to George Floyd in Minnesota or Wisconsin, I can't remember, and Derek Chauvin choking him out. Jesus, and it's like, did he need a whole bunch of laws and people saying, oh, this is not the right way? No, he needed Derek Chauvin and the individual justice that could have been meted out right there that saved his life, right? Here's what was, missing was individual justice. All the laws in the world aren't going to help, George Floyd. What would have helped is if Derek Chauvin was not on the police force. He had already 17 infractions. It's like, so look, it's how we interact individual and how we mature, how we become more civil, not less civil, or how we are told This is what you do. We're right, you're wrong, shut up. Not a good deal. It's a non-evolutionary approach to how we should evolve to be better and better through our interactions, right? When you mitigate those interactions, you destroy the society. So anyway, what do you prefer? I mean, if you're voting for Democrats and you think, well, maybe that's not really the way I want to go. If you're a little frightened of too much freedom in the individual, okay, get it, vote on the other team. But at the end of the day, understand you're voting for a type of government, one allotting freedoms, giving power to the individual and to the individual, to businesses, whatever. And the other one that says, no, we're going to tell you how to do it and get with it, right? So I'm Tom Llewellyn, and we'll talk next week. I haven't decided what to talk about yet, but we'll have some fun. Thanks.